You thought a dragon turned into a turkey, you idiot. What's the matter with you? This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Kanata.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. Jeff, this is the least timely story we've ever done.
Sweet.
I'm going to go ahead and say that. This story has to do with fear. And the problem with this is the article was published on Halloween.
Okay.
And, well, that's too late.
It's too late.
That's too late.
We're already scared.
We're already scared. We've already recorded our episode for that week. There's nothing we can do. You've released your article too late.
That's why spooky season starts October 1st.
Yeah. I need, for some of us, it starts September 1st. And then for some of us, it starts like August now. I got some friends where spooky season starts August. Listen, you've lived in LA. You know what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
LA, people in LA, ooh, they love a costume and they love scary themed things. They love a pop-up and an Instagram. And ooh, LA is just like, August 1st, it's Halloween. And I'm like, no, you need to chill the fuck out. It's summer. You need to just
pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice. Let's do it. August 1st.
Now, I do enjoy pumpkin flavored things. And I do think there should be more pumpkin flavored things throughout the year. I don't make a big deal of it. Because I'm an adult, but I do think that there should be more pumpkin flavored things throughout the year.
You don't think it makes it special that it's only one time a year? Like,
no.
I love a Cadbury cream egg, but there's something awesome about the fact that I can only get it for like a month.
Yeah, but you're not neurodivergent the way I am. I'm neurodivergent in a different way, where if I find something I like, that's just what I want every day. I don't want to fuck around with other stuff. Okay. I want to go to my favorite place and I want to order the same thing I always order. I want to do the same thing I do every day. I like it. My brain likes that. I want to hyperfixate at all times. If I'm in the mood for pumpkin, I'm in the mood for pumpkin for 6 months, and then I take a month off. And then I go right back to pumpkin. That's just the way it works. I'm like a 5-year-old. I'll only eat chicken nuggets. It's fine.
Yeah, I get it.
It's fine. But no, this is a story about fear that was published on the 31st of October. Right. And it was sent in to us by good old Synergy. Synergy Mansfield. That's right. Yeah. Listen, if you've been hearing these nicknames and you're like, man, why don't I have a nickname? Well, it's because you're not sending in stories.
You got to earn it. You got to earn it with those quality stories for us. We love checking them out over on the Discord.
That's right. You can head to the Discord. You can send them to wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com. There's a subreddit and a Twitter, but listen, don't use social media.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
We've been doing the show so long that we started without social media. We moved into social media and then we moved right out of it.
Yeah.
We did the full cycle.
We've been there. We've seen it all happen.
It's like pumpkin spice.
Don't speak to me of the old magic witch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're soaking in it. I forget what the other half of that is.
I think you just did a Lysol commercial? Or
I don't know. I don't know what I just did.
Fear.
Okay, I'll tell you about fear. Synergy sent this in. And this is about, a very interesting research facility that I was not aware existed. And now I can't get enough of them, if I'm honest. Jeff, I'd like to talk to you about the Recreational Fear Lab.
Oh boy, recreational fear.
That's right.
That's in contrast to professional fear, I guess.
This is I think it's like it's in contrast to actual fear. It's in contrast.
We're just fucking around.
We're just
goofing. Fear. Come on, don't get too scared. This is just recreational fear.
This is recreational fear. If you're a patron at the cold open level, you just heard a story about recreational fear. We just had Halloween. Yeah, it's all about recreational fear. And some people get into the recreational fear. Some people don't get into the recreational fear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, the people at the recreational fear lab, they love recreational fear. You want to talk about August? You want to talk about August 1st? Who's putting up the 12-foot skeletons? It's the recreational fear lab.
I'm sure they never take it down. Is the recreational fear lab like the Spirit Halloween store that it is only there for a few months a year?
That's right. It only shows up for a few months a year, and it only takes up space that used to be other laboratories.
Dude,
like one laboratory will close down. And you'd be like, oh, my favorite laboratory just closed down. Fuck, it's a recreational fear lab now.
Yeah.
I was supposed to get some blood work done. My doctor needs these results. Sorry, we're a recreational fear lab now. You want us to, we got a clown that can jump out at you.
Yeah. Yeah. After this, we're going to be a festive Christmas lab.
That's right.
But only for a couple of months.
The Recreational Fear Lab, Jeff, is a research unit dedicated to the scientific investigation of frightening leisure activities.
Oh, amazing.
At Aarhus University.
You put the logo up briefly on the screen, and I got to say, this is quality logo design.
The Recreational Fear Lab's logo is, now this is, like I said, a department at Aarhus University in Denmark. And the Aarhus University has a perfectly normal university logo. It looks like a very professional institution. It's the School of Communication and Culture at Aarhus University. That's what the Recreational Fear Lab is part of. But the Recreational Fear Lab's logo,
fighting Aarhusans.
Yeah, that's what they are. The Recreational Fear Lab, its logo is literally a hand with electrodes on it in the I'm coming out of a grave position.
It's a zombie hand.
Yeah, it's clearly a zombie hand with an EKG reading of an erratic heart rate behind it. It looks like it looks like if Sam Raimi needed a production logo.
Yeah. Yes, it's Sam Raimi's production company, or like Left 4 Dead video game expansion.
It looks like the Left 4 Dead cover. That's what it looks like. Kids, ask your parents. Now, I enjoy that the Recreational Fear Lab exists. When this was posted on the Discord, when old Synergy Mansfield threw this on the Discord and was like, who would have their fear tested by this lab? I was like, me.
So that's what they do. They test your fear?
Yeah, so basically this is it. The Recreational Fear Lab says that fear is commonly understood to be a negative emotion. It's unpleasant. You want to avoid it. It diminishes your well-being. And that's true in a lot of cases. But however, fear can be an engine in a range of leisure activities, from toddlers being play chased by caretakers to movie audiences screaming in delight in a horror movie. So their whole job, what they do, is they investigate the conditions under which fear can be fun, social, and inherently meaningful.
Inherently meaningful.
That's right. Ooh, we all learned something. We learned that fear was the friends we made along the way.
we learned that I shat my pants.
That's right. That's what we learned. And now I know that I'm afraid of that.
So this is just investigating ways that fear can be fun, or are they testing what's scary? Like, are we in the lab manufacturing the most concentrated forms of scary? What are we doing?
Thank you for asking, Jeff. I'd like to let you know
like
about
the
their
McDonald's
latest
food lab, where we're like coming up with flavor crystals and shit like that.
Yeah, they're coming up with flavor crystals, but they're fear crystals.
Love it.
They look like little skeletons. This latest report that was sent in was written about in a few places online. The particular article that was sent in to us was from Atlas Obscura, written by Roxanne Horn. They went looking for peak fear, Jeff. They said in their latest research, they said it's time to find and study peak fear. Because, of course, the Recreational Fear Lab believes peak fear, peak fun.
Okay. All right. What's the scariest they're looking for?
They wanted to find out. They wanted to find out, can somebody experiencing the highest level of fear?
By the way, peak fear is the mountain that's just up the rise from Cape Fear. Like if you go into Cape Fear and you park your boat and then you get off and then you take the gondola up Peak Fear.
If you're looking if you're looking to live in Cape Fear, make sure that it's actually Cape Fear and not Peak Fear, because a lot of real estate agents are like pushing that boundary out and they're trying to like
they'll say Cape Fear adjacent.
Yeah.
And they mean Peak Fear.
That's what they mean. And like Peak Fear is nice, but like don't overpay is what we're saying. Peak Fear, they wanted to make sure that they wanted to see if somebody who is experiencing the highest level of fear could be having a really good time. That's all. Okay. Like, hey, can you be the most scared out of your ding dang gourd you've ever been in your life? Probably to the extent that anybody could be scared. And also just
loving it.
Yeah. Just having some goofs.
Just living your best life as you're shitting your pants.
Yeah. So they teamed up, Jeff, with Leesburg Amusement Park. Leesburg Amusement Park is an amusement park that is known for their Halloween events and spectaculars. I would imagine it's kind of close to like a Universal Studios like we have. But it's big. It's big.
It's like Knott's Berry Farm transforms into Knott's Scary Farm.
Yes.
Leesburg transforms into Shake Your Kneesburg.
That's right. That's what they call it. They call it Shake Your Kneesburg. And what's weird is it phonetically, it actually doesn't sound that good in Danish. Like Shake Your Kneesburg, like when you translate it, like I don't know why they chose that joke. It's really strange. But they teamed up with this amusement park, and they got a grant from the Danish government, and they went absolutely ham with this, Jeff.
Oh no.
They went ham with this. You can see this is the site for their for the experiment, and it starts with like literally a horror movie trailer.
Yeah. This is already there's meat, raw meat.
Yeah.
What?
And like spooky hallways and like scary people underwater. It's good. And what they basically did, Jeff, is they had 1,600 people apply. They put up a public application. They said, hey, we're testing fear. If you're somebody who's like into being scared, or even if you're somebody who's not into being scared and you'd like to help us test the limits of fear, why don't you come on over and test some fear with us, baby?
Come over to Leesburg, I guess.
Yeah. So they took these 1,600 people.
Yeah.
And they narrowed it down to 2.
What?
That's right.
1,600 down to 2?
2 people.
What? What? Why would you get 1,600 to start? They're trying to find the most Ichabod Crane of the scariest, the easily rattled, most easily worried folks.
Well, they simply put up a call for applications. They planned on only doing 2 people, but they put up a call for applications and they got 1,600. I don't know. Like they were like, hey, who wants to be absolutely terrified for a day? And 1,600 people, I guess, said me.
They didn't expect more than 2 to answer the call.
Well, they expected more than 2, Jeff. They just wanted to pick the 2 best applicants. Listen, a lot of people want to be astronauts, Jeff. I don't know why. Astronauts suck.
Yeah, space wants to kill you.
Yeah, astronauts get the fuck out of here, astronauts. Ooh, I went to space. Who are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I played a ukulele up there. Get fucked. Well, look what happens when I open a Coke can up here. Get a job. Get a job.
I think that is their job.
Their job is to open a Coke can on the world's most expensive fucking science facility. Get a job.
It's a space lab. In a few months, it'll be a fear lab. Right now, it's a space lab.
Yeah, because all they're doing is opening Cokes and playing ukuleles on it. Honestly, defund the astronauts.
That's your position on this science podcast? Defund the astronauts.
Get them out of here. Who needs them?
All right.
Losers.
So they took these two people and they just scared the shit out of them?
Yeah, so basically, what they did is they took all of these applicants, they read through the applications, they interviewed a bunch of people, and then they picked these two people, Vicky Both and Helga Branscheit. And
Branscheit.
Yeah.
That's a name.
That's a name, baby. And they did a lot of pre-interviews with
they did
them.
a lot of like popping out from behind the couch.
Mm-hmm. They put a Jack in the Box in an empty room and had it crank itself. But what they had
like a spider rings, constant spider rings.
What they did is they interviewed them a lot about what their biggest fears were, how they felt about like being scared, whether they had fun when they were scared or not, you know. And both of them, they were like, look, they said the participants were both very excited about participating, but they also indicated very high expectations for their own fear levels. On a scale from 0 to 9, with 9 being the most afraid you've ever been in your life, both participants basically said like, oh, I expect to be level 9 scared. Like, you're the fear lab. This is the Leesburg fucking amusement park. I expect that I'm going to be level 9 scared. And then they were like, well, you know, how much fun do you think that you'll have? And how much do you think you'll enjoy it on a scale of 0 to 9? Vicky said she expected like a 4, and Helga expected like a 6.
And these are the best two applicants out of 1,600?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm calling shenanigans on this already, but go ahead.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
they don't expect to have any fun, but they expect to be scared out of their wits.
Well, here's the thing: if you think about, I can see where they're coming from, because if you think about like how scared are you when you watch a horror movie versus how much fun are you having, and then how scared are you when something legitimately terrifying happens, and how much fun are you having there? You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah.
I think they're kind of like, well, I know you're going to scare me as much as you can, but I also know that it's going to be in a safe space, but I know that it's going to be as scary as I've ever been scared. So I can't have the most fun, but maybe I'll have some fun. I get where they're coming from, you know?
Okay.
So the way they ran this experiment, Jeff, they found out what these people were the most afraid of. They asked them in their interview what they were the absolute most terrified of, and then they went to an amusement park with basically almost unlimited funds.
They recreated it. They got their dads to come down
and say that they were disappointed in them. They basically built custom fear experiments.
Dude, they made a bespoke haunted house?
Yes, for each person.
That's incredible. No wonder they only picked 2.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Haunted houses are expensive.
They crafted the pure, personalized fear, concentrated fear chamber specifically for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
It's like waking up in an episode of like The Twilight Zone or, you know, Tales from the Crypt, where it's like, oh no, you're about to have your worst day. Yeah. This is for you, bud.
They are, you know who they are? They are Spider-Man's arch nemesis, Mysterio.
It's a bit of a Mysterio situation.
They are they're investigating into your deepest psyche to pluck out your deepest fears and then using special effects to create it. Like Mysterio.
They're getting Gyllenhaaled.
Total Gyllenhaal.
It's a total Gyllenhaal situation. So basically, the way they did the oof. All right. So their biggest fears. Vicky Bath's biggest fears were dark and small spaces.
Too easy.
Helga Branscheidt's greatest fear were spiders.
All right.
Now, okay. Vicky is more of what they call a white knuckler, meaning that she tries to overcome and reduce her fear in the moment. If you're somebody who's like, something scary is happening, you're like, no, I can do this. Chill out. I'm going to, that's a white knuckler. Yeah. Branscheidt is more of an adrenaline junkie, just straight up like brocking it.
Just screaming her way through it.
Just screaming through and just enjoying the ride. You know what I mean? Just really making the most of it. That's our boy Helga.
That's the Branscheidt way.
That's what they call the Branscheidt method. And it works for them occasionally. So basically, what they did was they hooked them up to a bunch of sensors and, all kinds of things to monitor their physiological states. Yeah. And then in the middle of the night on October 11, 2023, they fucking pushed them into their weirdest, fucking most terrible nightmares. They separated them. They did these alone.
Yeah.
Because each man must face Mysterio's horrible house trials. Trials on their own. It doesn't work if two people are doing it.
Sure.
So basically, they experienced horrifying scenes that included live actors and equally live spiders.
Oh, they brought real spiders up in here.
They brought real spiders up in there for the Branscheidt. Now, so they started off with like doing standard haunted house stuff. You strap them to a rolling chair. You wheel them around in a room full of clowns.
I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed that this wasn't like we found all of the things that scare you and made, tight, dark spaces and spiders, not as exciting to me as I was hoping it was going to be. Like, we found the exact thing that you have been terrified your whole life. And each room is the next step down your personal psychic journey of death. I was hoping it was going to be really crafted to them.
Well, we're going to get there.
All right. So the strap to a table.
I don't want to give anything away, but I think you might be pleased by the time we get there.
All right, I'm in. So we're strapped to a table. We're rolling around through clowns. They're doing, some of them they're equally chairbound there in a maze full of mirrors with like some sort of frantic pleading person, like victims trapped in the maze, but also like other, monsters in the maze. Like, good, save me, Branscheidt.
Yeah, but Helga. Your standard stuff. But like, high quality haunted house stuff. They made a little highlight reel, and you can see them like, they're crawling through. There are zombies. There's, strobe lights. They're in like
serious business.
They're in places that look like abandoned, insane asylums and all kinds of like wild stuff. And, the actors are allowed to, because it's just these two people, the actors are allowed to really mess with them. Like, they've signed all the scientific waivers. So the actors are like allowed to like get up in there.
I got to say, for a science lab, there's a lot more branding than I would have expected.
I think, here's what I'm going to tell you.
We got a slick commercial video. We got an awesome logo. There's a lot of branding.
let me tell you something that we know about the people of Denmark. They love graphic design and they love slick video production. That's what we know about our Scandinavian friends. God, do they love well-designed stuff.
It's true.
And also, I feel like if you're the Fear Lab, like this is what you've been building towards. If you're the recreational Fear Lab, this is the experiment you've been building towards. You put all your money into this one, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So they have live actors, they have everything going on, kind of standard haunted house stuff, but then they have some like custom stuff. And one of the things that they do to Vicky is walking through a room. Vicky, by the way, 45-year-old teacher from Gammelby, Sweden. Little leg, like if you're not watching the video, if you're not a video feed member of Vicky's a very tiny lady we just saw.
Yeah.
And she's just strapped up to all this stuff. She's in a hazmat suit. She is going through this room, and all of a sudden, the room literally starts squeezing in on her.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, remember, she's claustrophobic. That's her thing.
Yeah, right.
Not only does it start squeezing in on her in like a, theme park, like, ooh, the ceiling is like going down. But if you stay in the room too long, the ceiling actually goes back up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like one of those things.
Yeah.
The room actually pushes in on her so much that the walls are constricting her.
She's like, 3PO, oh, where could he be?
Yeah, exactly. But like even scared her. Even more scaredy.
We're squishing our girl.
Yeah, she's like literally trying to walk through a room where she doesn't fit anymore. Like it turns into basically like a cave, being trapped in like a.
Can I be honest?
Yeah,
that would mess with me. That would mess with me hard.
Me too.
I would have a hard time with that.
And remember, the whole time this is going on, there's still strobing lights. There's still like screams and like laughs of like haunted children and stuff. Like they're doing the full thing to her while all this is going on. And she's yelling, stop it. And they're not stopping it because each
stop it. No, you signed the waiver.
You signed the waiver, Vicky. Why'd you sign the waiver if you didn't want this, Vicky?
You signed up. We had 1,598 other people we could have picked, Vicky.
And the reason why they're not stopping is they have a safe word and they have to say the safe word.
All right. What's the safe word? Stop.
Safe word is peak fear.
Peak fear.
If she says peak fear, they stop, and they finally do. She says peak fear. She can't get through the room. They stop. They pull out the closing walls. The strobe lights turn off. Everything shuts down. It's a regular room again. They come in. They check in on her. And they're like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I'm Vicky Bath, motherfucker. I'm going back in. I'm going back in. And she does. She does go back in. Helga, on the other hand, gets to his most terrifying space. He's barefoot in a tunnel with standing water. The lights are dim and strobing. And the walls, Jeff, are covered with real fucking spiders everywhere. Thousands of spiders, Jeff, all over the walls. And he's got to get to the other side of the tunnel while a zombie-like figure is also coming down the tunnel at him. So he's got spiders on the left of him.
Spiders to the left of me. Zombie to the right.
And here he is, Jeff.
Stuck in the middle. So do you think that the recreational fear lab has like a permanent ownership of a large group of spiders? Or do you think they like ordered them special just for that day?
I think they got them from Spiders Direct.
Well, but I feel like if you're the recreational fear lab, it's useful to just have spiders on hand.
You should
at any given time.
You
know?
should.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you would say, oh, of course the Fear Lab has spiders on hand. But when you get into the economics of running a recreational Fear Lab, you realize it's actually much more frugal to just rent the spiders on the days you need.
I guess.
You know?
The overhead of spider upkeep, I guess,
it's one of those initial things that when you're running a Fear Lab, a lot of Fear Labs make this mistake where it's like, well, we have to have all the spiders and the peeled grapes that feel like eyeballs like on hand. Right. But the thing is, like, the grapes go bad really quickly. The spiders require a lot of upkeep. And it's like, honestly,
you end up feeding the grapes to the spiders. And then what have you got?
Nothing. Because spiders they don't even eat grapes. They just look at the grapes and die because they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah. But I feel like if you're the recreational Fear Lab, you know, there's certain things you should just have in the storeroom. You know, just like you got to have skulls.
Gotta have skulls.
You got to some skeletons. You got to have you got to have spiders.
Yeah. You know, at the very least, realistic looking like rubber tarantulas.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to have like tons of spiders, but you probably do have also those realistic looking cockroaches that you can put them on places. And you definitely keep a large number of strobe lights and the fog machine bill at the Fear Lab.
I'm sure it's got to be
the fog machine,
all the dry ice that you need.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But honestly, if they share the Fear Lab with the Close-Up Magic Lab, you could share a lot of those expenses. The recreational Close-Up Magic Lab is actually, they need just as much dry ice. They need the fake spiders. So it's like you find ways in the scientific community to help one another.
That's good. It's a bad day, though, when you think you're going into the Close-Up Magic Lab and you accidentally walk through the wrong door, you know? Because they're right next to each other.
Honestly, the Close-Up Magic Lab is my Fear Lab. I don't like magicians. I don't like magicians.
Is this your card?
Is this your card? Fuck you. Fuck you, man. So the whole time this is happening, the recreational Fear Lab techs are measuring their fear responses through changes in heart rate, psychological state, facial expression, skin conductance. And what they found...
How do they measure fun? How do they know if it's fun? You just got to ask them, are you having fun? I don't know.
Are you having fun? I'm having a good time. No, I'm not. I'm not crying. I'm laughing. You know that video of the kid? I'm not crying. I'm yapping. I'm yapping. What they were doing while they're measuring these things is they're getting those levels, right? They're getting those fear levels. And what they found is it lined up with their previous findings, right? It's what they expected to find here, which is in a safe environment, people can take control of their fear through various coping mechanisms, from anger to grounding oneself in their body. Vicky said that at one point she did like avoid panicking and controlled her fear by getting angry at the stuff that was happening, you know? And if you've ever gone through a haunted house, you know, there are people that do different things. Some people scream, some people laugh. And then there are some people that just scream, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, how dare you? Like, get out of my face, you know, like that sort of stuff, like that anger.
Right.
And it's all these different things of like, this is how we deal with fear and push through it. Now, in the post-experiment interview, and this is the part that they really wanted to find out about, they asked them, they were like, so, you know, I imagine them getting to the end of like the tunnel of horrible spiders and standing water, and they're screaming and they're running. And at the end, there's just like this horrible creature with a chainsaw. And as you reach it, it just pulls off its mask and it goes, so, do you have a good time?
Are you having fun? Quick, couple of quick questions for you.
Yeah. If you don't mind, we'd like to just ask, how would you rate your experience here at the Fear Lab? It's like the interrogation scene of The Princess Bride.
I imagine it like I mean, this is an older reference, but you remember the old
Older than the
People's
Princess
Court?
Bride? Let's go.
Yes, older. You remember the old People's Court? When
Yes.
Judge Wapner would give a ruling, and then they'd leave the courtroom, and they'd have that dude outside, like, "Hey, quick interview. How do you feel about the justice today?" And they're like, "I fucking lost. What do you want me to say?"
Wow. You know, they do that on every single court show. I like that you brought up the People's Court, but it could have been like a Judge Judy or even a Judge Steve Harvey. Did you know he's a judge now?
No, do they just give judgeships to anybody at this point?
You can have Judge Steve Harvey. He finishes up at Family Feud, and then he walks over to
The courthouse.
to the courthouse, and he's a real judge, and he's given out the death penalty.
Man,
He's sent people to their death, and he said, "I got to do it.
well,
It's my job."
If I would trust anybody to kill someone, it's Steve Harvey.
That's right. So they asked them, they were like, "How was it? Genuinely, how was it?"
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, Jeff. You remember how they said they expected that they were only going to have like a 4 or a 5 for fun?
Yeah.
Baby, they gave it 9s.
They loved it.
They gave it the highest possible rating. They were like, "No, that was actually real good. I had a really good time. This was actually really, really great." And one of the people was just like, "I think really, really what was most interesting to me was how enjoyable they felt the whole thing was, and how I was struck by how proud in particular Vicky was," said one of the researchers. She was like, she kept telling me, "I'm so proud of myself. I'm so happy."
Because you conquered that fear. You faced that fear, and you realized that you could be okay.
That's right. And that's
cool.
one of the things that the Recreational Fear Lab is kind of out there trying to help people realize and recognize, is that the place of fear is like, yes, it's aversion for sure.
Yeah.
And there's it's there to let you know that you don't feel safe, obviously, but by facing your fear, there is a lot of growth, and we know that. But they wanted to show that there is growth in even higher levels of fear than we think.
That's interesting. I think that's sort of akin to, people's reaction to going skydiving for the first time, right? It's like you get to the end and you're like, "That was amazing." Why was it amazing? Because there was moments where I thought I was going to die, right? I didn't. And now I feel amazing.
Yeah. There's this thing of like, I was afraid of this. I was afraid that this would be the end of me, right? And a lot of times it's an irrational fear, right? Like with skydiving, that's a pretty rational fear. You jumped out of a plane, you could die. Right. That's rational. Yeah. But with some stuff, it's a very irrational fear, and people know it's an irrational fear. I'm afraid of like snakes, and there is a rationality to being afraid of snakes. But like, if your friend has like a pet snake and it's like, "Look, snakes don't want to attack you. Here's my pet snake." And you're like, "Whoa, I'm deathly afraid of snakes." And then you hold the snake and you're like, "Whoa, snakes. Who knew?"
Yeah.
You know that old example that people always give in exactly that wording.
Who knew?
Who knew? People go, "Oh, snakes. Who knew?" But there is a lot of growth in that. You're somebody who's done. You did the skydiving and the bungee jumping and stuff.
I have, yeah. And it actually reminds me of when you and I did the cryotherapy, and we were standing in the freezing cold, and there was a part of me that thought, that was really scared, because you're in a dark, scary, freezing place, almost naked.
It was actually very well lit. It was actually an extremely well lit place, and it was actually scary. It was actually like a very welcoming looking sort of medical facility. It was nice.
Yeah. But a week later, it was going to turn into a recreational fear lab.
But I love that you remember it as like dark and scary.
I remember it very, very dark in the chamber.
No, it was very well lit in the chamber. It was just that we were surrounded by vapor, by like ice vapor,
Yeah. Well, I remember not being able to see anything and being terrified out of my wits.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you were. Yeah.
And then you get out of it, and I think you were too. There's a video of us both screaming. Let's put it that way.
I was screaming because it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was screaming because it was terrifying. And then we get out and you're like, oh, I feel so good.
Yeah. I live. I live.
I think that's, you get that adrenaline rush. You get that, all the endorphins rush because your body's like, I don't know if I'm going to live or die. And everything is heightened. And then you come to the other side of that and you go, oh, it feels so good to have not died.
Yeah.
To have not died at the thing I was scared of.
That's right. That's right. Every day I wake up and I think it feels so good to have not died.
Yeah. We should all think that more. I think we would all live better lives if every morning we woke up and went, man, it feels so good to have not died.
But yeah, that's basically what they're saying. They're saying like, look, you should be embracing recreational fear all year long. It's not just a Halloween thing. They say embrace it and let kids embrace it. The whole picture is that for most people, engaging with recreational fear, including horror media, has positive effects that outweigh the occasional negative effects.
Wow.
Because of course you and I probably still occasionally get nightmares or feel compelled to look under the bed before we go to sleep. So there are those kinds of mild behavioral disturbances, but I think they're outweighed by the positive.
Scare yourself.
That's all they're saying.
I think that bears out in my own anecdotal experience. I think that the idea of doing things that scare you, facing your fears, forcing yourself to do things that you don't want to do, I find that to be a positive in my life. I think that bears out. Yeah.
I find this whole place very interesting. I find their different experiments that they've done very interesting. Matthias Clausen, who I've been quoting here, is the director of the Recreational Fear Lab. He's also the author of books such as Why Horror Seduces and A Very Nervous Person's Guide to Horror Movies.
That's a great title.
Yeah, it's really, really good. But they set up all kinds of different experiments and places, VR experiments, experiments in like different houses to disorient and scare people and use fear therapy to sort of help people have fun. And I think their work is absolutely fascinating.
It is pretty wild. I feel bad for the Leesburg folks who are like, you just created the greatest haunted house of all time. Yeah. I know. We made it for 2 people.
It's for 2 people. But listen, if you're the greatest chef in the world, does it matter if you're cooking for a whole restaurant versus 2 people? Really? As long as the food was enjoyed, Jeff?
I guess if you want to make a living, it matters.
Oh, yeah, but they still work at the amusement park. Like it's still making money over there at the amusement park.
I guess. I love the idea of bespoke haunted houses made specifically for you. Somebody needs to make that into a company. Make the company where you call them up, you pay them, an exorbitant amount of money, and they come to your, or they build it at a location specifically to you. Fill out this 100 question survey to find out the things that fuck with you the most. Yeah. And then we build it. We could make that business.
I wonder if this is something. This feels like, yes, here we go. I was going to say, this feels like something that does exist, but only if you're rich. And it does. Probably. Custom built haunted houses and mazes. You can absolutely have this stuff done. If you're wealthy enough, Jeff, people will.
You could be scared shitless.
But like for fun
Make enough
reasons,
money, and you too can crap your pants in fear.
Yeah, but in like fun, safe ways, and not in the like normal ways that those of us without money are scared. Like recreational fear versus.
Yeah. Call up this place like, what are you scared of? Being evicted?
Let's just wait long enough. That'll happen.
Yeah.
We don't need to build that for you.
Don't worry. We called your landlord. That's already happening.
Yeah, you're just a few days away. It's like check your door. Check your door. There might be a notice there. Woo. Yeah, it's good.
Over 31st. Why? Because rent's due tomorrow.
Yeah, that's why it's the scariest day of the year. You don't put Halloween on the 16th. On the 16th, you've got your beginning of a new pay period. Everybody's like, I'm fine. You got to put Halloween on the 31st. Speaking of which, give us money.
Oh, please. That would be nice.
Yeah.
We would love it.
We would love it if you can, if you're enjoying the show and it's something that you care to do and can afford to do. We'd love it if you head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns and find out how to support us. You can do it for as little as $1 a month. And that is the only way that we support and monetize this podcast.
Make it possible. The only reason we get to make these is because folks are supporting the show at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. There's cool perks. You get cool stuff in exchange, extra bonus audio and video. It's really great. Check it out.
Yeah.
Do you like being scared, Anthony? Do you like it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm one of those people. I like a haunted house. I like a horror movie. I like
a haunted house. I think there's a difference between being scared and being disturbed, you know?
Yeah.
One
is a diagnosis that's given to me by my doctor. The other is just being scared.